Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me for another beer review. Hope you're all good. We are taking a look at another beer now that I got for Christmas. This one was from the daughter. It was two beers, different beers in a little pack. It's part of the bullseye thing that I got off Courtney, so a big thank you to Courtney for that. Looking forward to having a go at the game as well as it happens. So I'm taking a look at one of the beers out of the box. I've gone with the lowest ABV one. And this one is the Bully Beer Game On Session Lager, and it says it is a premium lager coming in at a 3.4% ABV. Lovely artwork. Come on, we all love Bullseye, don't we? Who doesn't? And the daughter obviously knows I'm massively into darts. The downside to this is you think, who brewed this beer? Well, this has been brewed and canned on behalf of Bully Beer at Freedom Brewery, Staffordshire. So I thought they were from Derbyshire. They're from Staffordshire. So Freedom Brewery have got their mitts into this one. They seem to do quite a bit for Aldi in that, and they tend to be pretty poor beers, to be honest. So I'm not expecting too much from this. What am I expecting from this? Oh, I'm expecting one of them cheap, nasty lagers that doesn't have the name Carlin on it, just Freedom Brewery. So it's nice and chilled. There we go. That's what we're going to dive into. It's a 330ml can. Don't know how much the pack was. Christmas present. Don't need to ask. Probably a £5 or something. £8. I don't know. There we go. No Freedom glass, so it's going to go in there. So let's get it cracked open, see what we get. I've just done a non-alcoholic hazy IPA. That was 0.3%, so there isn't an awful lot of difference between that one and this one, is there? Let's be honest. Only 3%. So let's get it poured and see what we get. I can imagine this is just going to be like a watered down version of the Freedom Lager, because I believe that is about 4% anyway. Or you certainly used to be, and I bet this is just a watered down version of that. I'm not going to fill it right up because I want to be able to swirl the glass around, so there is a bit left in the can. A beer in a glass. Yeah, it's sort of golden in colour. Plenty of carbonation, clear as a bell, as you can see. And we got just over a finger of head on top, sort of mix and match, some big bubbles, some small bubbles. I fully expect that to suddenly disappear. So there we go, that's what it looks like. Let's dive in with the nose, see what we get. If you want to pause that and have a read of whatever's on there, feel free. I can't read it, so sod it, you'll have to do that. Let's have a sniffers. Yeah, I mean, very standard, everyday sort of lager smell. Nice sort of lemon citrus note in there. It smells like a lager. Nothing particularly nasty in there, but just smells very run-of-the-mill. A slight hoppy note and a slight sweet malty note in there, as if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, nothing particularly nasty, but nothing sort of blowing your mind. But there was a little bit of breadiness there with the malt. Right, let's get the rest in and see what we get. You know, I'm not expecting much, so I will say it does smell better than I was expecting. Let's dive in. Bully Beer Game On Session Lager, 3.4%, brewed and canned at Freedom Brewery. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, there's notes there that are quite pleasant. I'm not going to, you know, I fully expected to totally rip it a new arsehole. But it's not as terrible as it could have been. It's not great. There is a little malty bready note in there. Let's do my other stuff first, the body wise and everything. 3.4%. Let's be fair, yeah, it's light, but it's not really watery or nothing. Really light, but not watery thin. Quite well carbonated. I wouldn't say the carbonation really massively kills it, considering how fizzy it is and the fact that the beer is light. I wouldn't say it particularly kills it. Is it the smoothest? It's not the smoothest, nor is it the roughest sort of beer. It's going to be quite a quick one, this. A slight bit of maltiness on the start. The hops kick in. The hops do leave it with quite a strong sort of bitterness that isn't a nice sort of bitterness, if I'm honest. I think you do tend to get that with some of these English lagers. The hoppiness can be a little bit rough around the edges, the bitterness that the hops leave. And this has got that, so it's not the most pleasant of drinking experiences because of that, excuse me. A little bit of a citrus note, but it is that bitterness that you're getting from these hops that it's not a nice sort of smooth, easygoing bitterness. It's a little bit rough around the edges sort of bitterness. 3.4%. I mean, there's a lot worse beers out there at 3.4%, and definitely lagers, it's got to be said. You know, this does have something about it. It's just not all good. If you're a sort of standard lager drinker, I would say this is probably going to beat the likes of Carlsberg, Carlin, Foster's, because it doesn't have that sort of chemical feel about it, I would say, if you know what I mean. It does feel like the beer has sort of been properly brewed without sort of like nasty additives and that, but it is just a little bit rough around the edges. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting an awful lot from this. It is better than what I thought. I was expecting it to be a damn sight worse. It is better than a lot of the stuff out there, but at the same time, it's worse than a lot of stuff out there. But it is what it is, and really, when you've got breweries that are doing beers for gimmicky things like this, what are you really going to expect from it? You can't really expect too much. I'll drink it. It's forgettable. It's exactly what you expect from it, but it's drinkable, and that's about it. So there you go. There's my thoughts on the Bully Beer Game On Session Lager, brewed and canned at Freedom Brewery, 3.4%. I've had worse, I've had better. Let's leave it at that. So if you've had this pack before, the Bullseye pack, and you've had this beer before, let me know your thoughts on it. I don't think any comments are going to surprise me particularly with it. Or even if you've got the pack and you're waiting to have it, hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to subscribe and like and share and all that lot. And I'll see you again soon on another one. Cheers.